Okay, hello. Welcome. It is Tuesday. It is 12:30 my time, 6:30 Eastern. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. This is going to be a short one because I need to go take care of myself. Feeling a little under the weather today, but that's okay. We are here. Thank you for being here. Um, I wanted to talk today about how you can be your own vocal coach in all the situations that you are singing. Because even if you work with a vocal coach, they're not going to be there all the time, right? And there's a certain amount of pushing ourselves and asking questions and knowing when not to push yourself so hard that is really important for you to learn how to do on your own. So if you've worked with a vocal coach, it can be really easy to just ask them in every moment, was that correct? Right? I call this the perpetual student syndrome. We always need to know what the coach thinks. We need to know if the authority figure is happy. We need to know if the teacher is going to give me an A plus. That kind of energy. I am forever one of these, forever and ever, because I was an intellectual child, let's say. I was in the IB program. I was very invested in doing all my homework and getting all of my A's and trying to get a 4.0, which I don't think I ever really had a 4.0. I always had like a 3.75, which was even more annoying to me. And so this feeling didn't really rub off until later in my adulthood when I was more aware of it. I think it's really important for us, especially as artists, because art is so subjective, to have our own vocal coach inside of our heads. So you have to be the vocal coach inside your head. Like, yes, I totally understand that when you're learning technique and you're not sure if you're doing it right, it's important to ask, right? Is this what you are asking me to do, or am I going back into my bad habits? That's an important distinction. And that, of course, is what a teacher is there for. This is why I have a job. I help people find different vocal techniques that feel better than the ones they were already doing before because they weren't happy with that, either how they sounded or how they felt. However, after a certain point, you got to start being the momentum on your own, because you can't be the person who is relying on the person who knows more, who has more experience, when it's art we're talking about. There's a line here. And yes, art and music teachers are incredibly necessary. I would not be here without my music teachers that I had, and I'm so, so grateful to them. And I'm also grateful that at a certain point, they stopped telling me what to do. And they said, Sarah, you know what to do here. Make your own choices. You are the artist. At the end of the day, if it feels like you're not hurting yourself, you can make whatever the heck choice you want, right? This is why you have favorite artists, because the choices that they made in the song that they're singing are them, right? They are allowing themselves and their choices to be seen. And that's it. That's at the end of the day. They're not showing you two choices and saying, which should I do? Which should I like better? Although on Instagram, people are doing that all the time. But you know what I mean. Like, they're making a choice for their art, right? I am deciding to belt this note because I wanted more power there. I want more emotion there. Or I'm deciding to take this run down instead of up because I feel like that's where my emotion and my creativity wants me to go. Making those artistic choices on your own, because at the end of the day, that's what we got to do to be an artist. Like, you can ask your vocal coach to tell you every single thing to do in every moment. However, is that really helpful for you to build that trust muscle with yourself? Like, professional students, we are insufferable because we will forever and ever question every single choice that we make. And so art becomes just imitation, right? And there, at a certain point, art is imitation, and that's how you learn to do the art that you're doing. But at a certain point, you have to take the reins and make choices beyond just copying what the original person was doing, right? So, like, if you're trying to paint a Picasso, you're not going to get it exactly right, but you can try and learn techniques from looking at Picasso paintings, and you can do your best. But at the end of the day, it's never going to be exactly a Picasso, right? It's going to be your version of a Picasso, and we got to lean into that uniqueness, those choices, your imperfections, and keep going on that path and make those choices and say, oh, you know what? This does not look exactly like Picasso, and that's cool. I'm going to keep leaning into this choice because this feels more true to me and where I am right now. Same with singing. You can imitate Christina Aguilera until the cows come home. However, you're never going to sound exactly like Christina Aguilera. Now, there are some great impressionists out there, don't get me wrong. However, if you are trying to just imitate, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a whole lot about what sounds your voice can make. That is hugely important in singing. That is most of the first couple of years of learning how to sing. Because honestly, that's what we do as children, right? We listen to our parents, we listen to our favorite artists, and we imitate them. This is how we learn to make bigger and better and more interesting sounds that are not just our speaking voice, yes? So I think it's really important to recognize, am I still in that stage? Am I still in that stage of learning how to imitate and how to expand my sound toolbox? Or do I feel like I'm ready to push myself a little and to start choosing things that are outside of my comfort zone based on what I feel is more fun? What if we brought fun into this choice instead of, am I doing this right? Right? What do I feel in this moment would sound cool? What do I want to experiment with? What am I not even sure I can do right now? But I'm going to try and do it and see what happens, even if I mess up. What about that? So if you have been my student, you know that one of my very first, I don't know, within my first 5 lessons, I usually give the assignment to sing it messy. Let it be ugly, let it be messy, let it be weird. Just let go of the need to do it right. And through that, you will start to find that you are a vessel for this inspiration, right? Like, I'm sure you feel this when you're singing in your car and you're just like rocking on some song and you're like, wow, that sounded really good. I don't even know how I did that, but I did it and it was great. And that was me and that was my voice. But kind of also it was something that I downloaded and let out of me because I was so open and free that it just happened that way, you know? And that is the thing. Once we feel like we have imitated enough to get what is possible in your voice and to be able to recall a sound and to be able to repeat a sound, then we have to start saying, okay, what is the next step? My goal now is not to be an imitation machine. My goal now is to combine all of these things that I now know I can do into a big ball of my choices, which is my art. Yes? So everything is a series of 800,000 choices, especially singing, because within a song, there are thousands of notes. And maybe the original artist did this one way, but you have a choice every single note to do it the same way they did or to do it a different way. And I know that sounds way overwhelming and sometimes anxiety producing. So if you don't like that, don't think about it that way. If it helps, I would work on finding 1 to 5 moments within a song where you feel like you want to play a game with yourself and choose something different. Right? So instead of doing the exact notes that she did, whoever the original artist was. Instead of doing the exact notes that they did, maybe play with changing up. You go up instead of down. Or you go a little more powerful when they fade it out a little bit, or vice versa. Maybe add a little scoop into a note. Maybe add a little cry. You know, that kind of thing. That is what makes artists have a style. This is style building. This is you singing a song with the goal of letting out your full emotions instead of the goal of, am I doing this right? So take a look at how you're approaching your songs this week. If you hear that gremlin voice in your head saying, no, that's not right, that's wrong, push back. You're like, hey, what would Sarah say right now? Sarah would tell the gremlin, number one, to F off. We don't need your opinion here. And also, number two, I get to choose, right? Even if it's not correct, right? If you sing a note that is not correct according to what the original artist did, correct, especially in art and music, is incredibly subjective. You get to choose whether it is correct or not. And you have to be the one to push yourself to make that choice. You have to be the one to push back on that gremlin and say, nope, it is right because I chose it, because I allowed that note to happen, because I got out of my way and I let myself be that vessel for this creativity, right? And the emotion is the thing that is driving that. And this is also the reason why we love to listen to our favorite artists, because they are so in tune with letting the emotion drive the voice, and then they get out of the way and let the technique just happen because they've practiced it so much. You know what I mean? So your favorite artists are probably not thinking, okay, am I going to choose to belt this note? They already chose it a long time ago when they practiced the song, and or they were feeling something else in that moment and they trusted themselves enough to say, yeah, I'm gonna belt this note within the millisecond before they sang it. And that is the kind of trust that we're building here. We're saying yes in every single moment to whatever creative choice your creative brain wants to make. And that takes letting go of the reins at first. It's a very scary feeling to say, I'm going to sing it messy. I'm going to be a little reckless. I'm going to trust myself, which feels like loss of control at the beginning, you know? So give me an emoji if you have ever felt this, that like trying to make your own choices and stray from what the original person did feels scary. Let me know if you felt that, because I have. I don't know what to choose. I don't know if it's right. I don't know if it's going to sound good. Those are all valid concerns. But at the end of the day, if you're ready, even if you're not ready, honestly, before you're ready, I want you to start challenging yourself to make different choices. Make your own choices. Even if it's 99% the same choice that the original artist made, that 1% that you decided, great. It's amazing. Lean into it. Don't ask your teacher if you did it right. Try that today, this week in your voice lesson. If you have that urge, is that right? Stop yourself and say, you know what? That choice was a choice I made. That's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be good or bad or correct or wrong. All it has to be was, yep, I made that choice. You can say afterwards, okay, I'm not the biggest fan of that choice. I'm going to try and choose something different. You always have that ability. But I don't want you to judge yourself and say that was a bad choice, because you're making choices. And the way to build trust with yourself, making choices in the moment, in millisecond time, is to get rid of that judgment that comes afterwards. And you have control over that. Hear what I'm saying? You know? So we got to train our nervous system to think of ourselves as a safe place. Think of ourselves as a coach. So instead of asking your vocal coach, was that correct? Ask yourself, was that correct? And if you have the urge to say, I don't know, change the question. Was that what I intended to do? Yes or no? If it was not, let's look at why. Where is the breakdown in that train of directions that you're giving yourself? If it was what you intended, maybe you just needed a little more. Maybe you just need to let go a little more. Maybe you just need to settle into it a little more. That's an energetic thing. That is the biggest thing you can change with how you sing, is you can show up differently for each note. And you have the ability to do that. It just takes practice. Showing up from an energy of, I have a plan, and I'm willing to stray from the plan if my emotion dictates. And I'm going to let go and be a little reckless, because that's what makes good singing. Yes? That's all I had to say. It's an important one. Oh, I love those fireworks. So fun. What a perfect button for this. I'm going to go eat a little food, and thank you for hanging out with me. I'll see some of you later today, some of you later this week. And if I haven't seen you in a while and you need to book a call with me, it's your time. I'll see you soon. Go be your own vocal coach today. Make choices. Who cares if they sound weird? Just make a choice. You got this. And I love you. All right. See you soon.